You must marry from my tribe, part 2. Ekene didn't say a word, but Adaeze's eyes filled with understanding. Are you sure, Chima? She asked gently. More sure than I've ever been, Chima replied, his gaze unwavering. Ekene finally spoke, his voice low and tight. You are making a mistake. Marriage is not just about love. It's about building a future tied to your roots, your people. I understand, Dad, Chima said, but building a future also means finding happiness, and I am happy with Aisha. I want to build a family based on love, not just tradition. The words seemed to linger in the air, heavy with meaning. Ekene remained silent, his face hard, but Chima could sense that something was shifting. Days turned into weeks, and though Ekene still refused to discuss the matter, Chima remained resolute. He proposed to Aisha on a quiet afternoon at the park. The sun settled behind them as he knelt down and offered her a ring. Aisha's tears of joy were all the answer Chima needed. She said yes, and they embraced, knowing that the road ahead might not be easy, but it would be worth it. When Chima returned to his parents' house with the news, Ekene refused to speak to him, locking himself in his studies. But Adaeze hugged him tightly, offering her blessing. I see your happiness, Chima, she whispered. That's all a mother could want for her son. Chima thanked her, but there was still a hole in his heart. He longed for his father's approval, even though he had resolved to go ahead with the wedding regardless. As the wedding preparation began, Chima was met with love and support from Aisha's family, while his own family remained divided. Adaeze, though supportive, had to tread carefully between her husband's anger and her son's desire. The day of the wedding arrived, and Chima's heart pounded as he stood at the altar, waiting for Aisha. She looked stunning in her bridal attire, a perfect blend of the two cultural woven into fabric of their union. As the ceremony commenced, Chima couldn't help but glance at the empty seat meant for his father. His mother sat alone, her face a mix of pride and sadness. The wedding proceeded and vows were exchanged, but Chima couldn't shake the feelings that something was missing. He loved Aisha deeply, but the absence of his father cast a shadow over the joyous occasion. After the ceremony, as the guests celebrated, Chima slipped away to a quiet corner, his heart heavy. Just then, he felt a familiar hand on his shoulder. He turned, surprised to see his father standing behind him. Dad, Chima whispered, unsure if he was dreaming. Ekene looked at his son, his face unreadable. You've always been stubborn, he said, his voice rough, just like your mother. Chima smiled weakly. I'm sorry if I disappointed you, Dad, but I had to follow my heart. Ekene sighed deeply. His gaze softened. I may not fully understand your choice, but seeing you today, I realized something. Tradition is important, yes, but what matters most is family, and you, Chima, are my family. Chima's eyes filled with tears as his father continued. If Aisha makes you happy, then who am I to stand in the way of that? Chima embraced his father tightly, the weight of years of tension finally lifting for the first time in his life. He felt truly free. Ekene pulled back his eyes, glassing. Go and be happy, son. I may have been wrong to hold on so tightly to the past. Over the next few weeks, Ekene began to slowly warm up to Aisha. He visited Chima and Aisha's home, shared meals with them, and even started learning about Hausa culture. Chima couldn't believe the transformation in his father. The man who had once been so rigid in his belief was now embracing a new way of thinking, all because he saw the love between Chima and Aisha. Adeze, relieved by the growing tension, became a regular visitor to their home. She doted on Aisha, treating her like the daughter she never had. The couple's life flourished. They welcomed their first child, a boy. They named Ibrahim, a name that honored both of their heritage. The birth of Ibrahim brought both families together in a way Chima had never thought possible. Ekene, who had been so resistant at first, was overjoyed to meet his grandson. He held the baby with pride, marveling at the little life that symbolized the union of two tribes. Aisha's family too embraced Ibrahim as their own, showering him with love and gifts. The child was a bridge between two worlds, representing a future where love, not tradition, dictated the course of life. As Chima watched both his and Aisha's parents doting on their grandson, he realized how much had changed since the day he stood defying his father. The resistance, the anger, and the headache had all melted away, replaced by joy and acceptance. Life settled into a rhyme for Chima and Aisha. They built a home filled with love, laughter, and respect for each other's culture. Aisha taught Chima some of her language, and in turn, Chima introduced her to more of his Igbo tradition. Together, they created a harmonious blend of their heritage. Chima often reflected on how far he had come. The pressure to conform to his tribe's expectation had once been suffocating, but now he saw the beauty in merging the old with the new. His parents, who had once clung so tightly to tradition, were now proud of the family he had built. One evening, as the sun set over their peaceful home, Aisha sat next to Chima on their porch, baby Ibrahim sleeping in her arms. "Do you think your father ever imagined this?" she asked, her voice soft. Chima clunked. "Not in a million years, but look at him now. He's completely smitten with Ibrahim. Sometimes love can break through even the toughest wall." Aisha smiled, leaning into him. "I am glad you choose to fight for us. I can't imagine my life without you." "Neither can I," Chima whispered, his hand gently resting on hers. The connection they shared was deeper than anything he had experienced before, built on love, understanding, and mutual respect. Over time, Chima's story spread throughout his community. People who once gossiped about his decision to marry outside his tribe began to see his marriage as a symbol of unity. His courage to challenge tradition inspired others to open their hearts and minds to different ways of thinking. Chima was often invited to speak at community gatherings, where he shares his journey of love, struggle, and acceptance. He spoke passionately about the importance of following one's heart, even when it meant going against the grain. His words resonated with many, especially younger generations who felt the pressure of upholding tribal traditions. Chima's story gave them hope that they too could carve their own path without losing themselves in the process. As years passed, Chima and Aisha's family continued to grow. They welcomed a daughter, Zara, who brought even more joy into their lives. Like Ibrahim, Zara was raised in a home that celebrated both Igbo and Hausa culture, fostering a deep sense of pride in her mixed heritage. Chima's parents became regular visitors to their grandchildren, doting on them as they grew. Ekene, once regarded in his ways, now embraced the beauty of their blended family. He often spoke of how proud he was of Chima for forging his own path. "You have taught me something important, son," Ekene told Chima one day as they sat in the garden watching Ibrahim and Sarah play. "I was so focused on preserving our traditions that I forgot what really matters: love and family." Chima smiled, his heart full. "I couldn't have done it without your support, Dad. It wasn't easy, but I am glad you came around." "I am proud of you," Ekene said, his voice full of emotion. "You showed me that sometimes breaking away from tradition doesn't mean losing who we are. It means finding new ways to grow." Chima nodded deeply, touched by his father's words. It has taken years, but the journey had been worth it. He had not only found love, but he had also mended the bond with his father, creating a stronger connection than ever before. Aisha joined them in the garden, her eyes lighting up at the sight of Chima and his father together. "Look at us," she said, smiling. "We have come a long way, haven't we?" Chima wrapped an arm around her. "We have, and it's only the beginning. Our family will keep growing, and with it, our love." The years continued to pass, and Chima and Aisha's children grew into confident, compassionate adults, proud of their dual heritage. Ibrahim, now a teenager, often spoke of how long he was to come from such a rich cultural background. Zara, too, embraced her identity with pride. She often shared stories about her Igbo and Hausa roots with her friends, celebrating the diversity that made her unique. Chima and Aisha's home became a hub of cultural exchange, where friends and family from both tribes gathered to share meals, laughter, and stories. Their home symbolized the possibility of unity in a world often divided by differences. Chima often looked around at the lively gathering in his home, grateful for the love that had brought him to this point. It wasn't just his love for Aisha, it was a love and acceptance that had grown between their families over the years. As he reflected on his journey, Chima realized that love had the power to transform even the most deeply ingrained belief. What once seemed like an impossible challenge had become the foundation of the greatest joy. One evening, as Chima and Aisha sat watching the sunset, he turned to her and said, "I never imagined my life would turn out this way. It's better than I ever dreamt." Aisha smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. "That's because we chose love over fear, Chima. We didn't let the way of tradition hold us back. And look where it brought us," Chima said, his heart full of gratitude. "A beautiful family, a life filled with love, and the freedom to be who we are." They sat in silence for a while, watching the sky turn shades of pink and orange. The world around them was changing, but their love remained constant, a testament to the power of choosing one's own path. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Chima whispered, "I'm glad I found you. Aisha, you are my home, my heart, and the reason I believe I could break free." Aisha smiled, knowing that their love had broken the chain of tradition and built something lasting and beautiful in its place.